I'm loath to turn this music off, I'm afraid, but it's going to have to happen because we're going into the next game. God, it's such a great song. Miller Ball Breakers by David Soul, which is, in fact, a track from the one and only Jet Set Radio. Alright, here we go, folks. Man, this is getting crazy. So crazy that the game's lagging slightly. It's okay, we're fine. It's an online tournament, it happens sometimes. Anyway, Vortex has now been sent off for the ZVZ, and I think Karont3 is certainly wishing that they'd done it earlier. Oh, God, I mean, it's insane, really, when you think about it. But, hey, it's happening right now. Hope is shooting for the all-kill, and Vortex is what stands in his way right now. Let's see if he can pull it off. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing for Karont3 Esports Club to the northwest of this particular map, which is... Oh, no, it's not. It's Belshire Vestige. It's like, is it Ohana? Is it Belshire Vestige? Can't remember. Versus his opponent, this guy. 3 kills already here for Mousesports. Sweden fighting right here in this tournament. To the southeast position, playing Zerg. In the red trunks, he is Mousesports Hope. Ooh. Alright, well... I don't know much about Hope's ZVZ, I've got to say, and I know that Vortex is pretty damn good at it. So, this could be a struggle for him. This might be the time when Vortex starts to turn things around, but just bear this in mind. This has all been done by Hope, yeah? Which means that Mousesports still has Hero Marine, and they still have Mana. And the rest of their... they could send a sniper out in this position. This is a best-of-9 team league. There is nothing stopping them sending a sniper out if Vortex wins this, taking down Vortex, and then finishing, basically sending Hero Marine and then Mana at him, one after another, both of which are very, very good players indeed. So, this is an awesome position for Mousesports to be in. I can't imagine they expected Hope to take 3 kills, and this has given them such a strategic advantage in the rest of this series. Right, well... Let's see where this goes. Both of these guys elected to go pool and then straight into hatchery, and they're both electing, of course, to take gas because they will need to get banelings out. You don't generally play a gasless style here because it's called suicide. Without banelings to negate your friends' banelings, or indeed roaches, then you're going to have a really bad time. Right now, identical builds, but this is probably going to get really aggressive really fast. Now, Zerg versus Zerg in this particular expansion results in kind of the same openings, unless you get in this weird position where they both sort of subconsciously mutually agree to go lair and say, oh, you know what, I really want to go Mutalisk. Oh, I wanted to go Mutalisk as well. And then it gets really silly, because Muta versus Muta is a silly battle, but it happens one way or the other. Mutalisks are just better in Heart of the Swarm. They're faster, they regenerate energy quicker, so it's a position where Mutalisk is a great option. Speed now coming down first here for Hope. That's an interesting move. Are we going to see speed from Vortex, or is he going to try and go straight to Lair Tech here? Now, there we go. I was going to say, that's super risky. Speed versus no speed, you know how that can go. And who's going to be the first to put down the Baneling Nest? Or is one of them going to put a Roach Warren down instead? We'll find out. Baneling Nest, oh, they're both going to put the Baneling Nest down at exactly the same time. Let's look at the positions. Vortex has his in his main, whereas Hope has his at his natural. There are times you can read into this, and there are times that you can't. A lot of players put this down at the natural to provide a partial wall-off. Yeah, combined with Queens and maybe a Spine Crawler or two, it starts to create a partial wall-off. If you place it around the hatchery, it means that a Lynx around is less effective on the hatchery, because you can't actually get that full surface area. It sometimes indicates that you want to be the defensive player, but not always. And more often than not, it's just a stylistic choice, so you can't really read too much into it. Ling's now going to come around and scout on both sides at almost the same time here. Vortex is going to dip in, and he's going to see the Baneling Nest, he's going to see its position, and then, of course, he's going to have to deal with the fact that his opponent is going to have speed before he does, so these Lings are actually going to die here without question. There we go, and there they get ripped to shreds. In the meantime, the Speedlings actually get taken out by the Spine Crawler from Vortex, so because Vortex built the Spine, and his opponent didn't, that kind of puts the momentum in the favor of Hope to make the next move. The question is, what does Hope do with it? Well, he's actually building a Roach Warren instead of going to Lair Tech. This can be really risky. Because your Lair Tech is delayed, that means if it gets to a Muta versus Muta war, you usually lose, because you have less Mutalisks than your opponent. But it does open up an opportunity, like a 3 to 4 minute window where you can go for a Baneling Roach all-in bust to destroy your opponent. So the question is, does Hope take advantage of that? Or is Vortex able to survive, get his Spire up, and then his opponent ends up in a world of pain as a direct result? Roach is now on the way. Hope is not building any more drones. Here comes the Spire. So that basically starts the clock. The time bomb is ticking now. It's about 135 seconds from now until the first set of Mutalisks pop out. It is now up to Hope to do damage. Good target fire so far here by Vortex. Great kiting and control as well. He takes down both Banelings without any real damage being done. There's the run-by into the natural mineral line. He hasn't really killed all that many drones with it yet. He needs to do the follow-up. Of course, he's going to follow up with slow roaches, which will take some time. Hope's Lings still alive right now. It's currently 10-8. That has been sorted out by the fact that the Spinecrawler took 5 kills here. Overseer gets spotted. He knows this lair. He knows he is now on a timer. He knows that time bomb is ticking away. He must do more damage now before the Mutalisks come out, because if they do, then he's gonna be in a world of trouble. Oh, yes, he is. More Spinecrawlers coming out. More Banelings as well. Vortex knows he must survive here. If he holds on until his mutas come out, then he's in a great spot. The Spire is 15 seconds from finishing. Banelings detonate, and it went in the favor of Vortex there. He got a good trade. Baneling makes its way into the line. Good detonation. Takes the Queen out as well. These Roaches are smashing their way through. This Spinecrawler barely finishes. Roaches engaging here as well. This other Spine... Oh, he needs to kill that. There we go. Spinecrawler is down. Mutalisks are now on the way. Now he must do economic damage. The Mutalisks are 15 seconds from coming out now. But this mineral line is taking huge damage. More Lings come in. 10 workers killed so far. Baneling Nest could get targeted down. Hope morphing in right here, but the mutas are about to pop. Hope needs to do more damage. He needs to keep hammering on his opponent and then prepare for a defense. And it looks like he may be able to do just that. The mutas pop out and they're going to start to kill that. He cancels the Banelings, but he manages to get 2 into the mineral line. Ah, no! And his opponent does not notice that. Vortex doesn't notice it. Vortex is in a bad way right now, losing a huge amount of drones. GG! Hope, what the hell have you been fed today? God damn it. Jeez, this guy is insane. Hope is about to all-kill Karont3. He takes Vortex out in a Zerg vs. Zerg. 4 kills now against Karont3. Who do they bring out? Do they send Vortex in again for a ZVZ, or do they bring Luciflon back out? I mean, they could resurrect either of the Protoss players, but I wouldn't risk it. I would not risk it at all. My God, Hope is so good. We're going to find out if he can make the full all-kill in a best of 9 against... Are you ready? Are you ready? You better be ready. You better be ready, because this could be an all-kill on our hands right here. Last map, potentially, is going to be Ohana right now. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, it is. We have discovered quite the talent here in this particular event. Let's see if he can go all the way. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ohana. The ace, as you might think, is once again Lucifron. He is in the blue trunks and he is playing Terran to the northwest, who has the daunting task of taking down this man right here, who has currently 4-killed his team. He is in the red trunks playing Zerg to the southeast. It is Mousesports Hope. Well, apparently nobody gave the memo to Hope that Zerg is supposed to be underpowered in this expansion, because he is powered through all 3 races, and he is not showing any signs of stopping. Now, the question is, what does Lucifron do? Does Lucifron revert back to his classic build? Does he go back to the Hellbat drops? Is that what he looks to shoot for? Will it help, even? Hope, what are you doing? What are you doing, Hope? What the hell is this? This is a really early gas before pool. A really early gas before pool. I have not seen that for ages. This used to happen more than you might think, gas before pool, but this, not so much, not anymore. I have a feeling that Lucifron is about to get all in a pretty big way. It's not, it doesn't necessarily mean aggression. Like, maybe you can read it and say, oh, he's getting gas, it means he wants to be aggressive. What it can mean is super early tech. Really early tech. It delays your economy quite significantly. Maybe Hope just goes for a 1 or 2 base all-in here, which might be a good way to finally deal with Lucifron. That's probably a good way to finish it out. And even if this fails, it doesn't make that much of a difference, because Mousesports has like 5,000 other players they can send out. So they could send Mana out, they can send Hero Marine out in a TBT, which I wouldn't recommend, considering Lucifron just slaughtered Korean Terrans the last time he got a chance to play against them. So maybe not in a TBT, but you've got a lot of options. Okay, let's see what this is. So this basically was used for really early speed, super early speed. and he's not mining from it anymore. So I guess that's all you can really read into it. It could have been some kind of crazy all-in, could have been something along those lines, but no, just really early speed. This is very old school. So many Zergs don't do this. And the reason is they just prefer to get hatches, they prefer to rely on queens, and they prefer to power drones. This is going to be really surprising, I feel, for Lucifron. Reaper's going to make his way in here. There is already a queen on the field, and that queen is going to beat that Reaper. The problem with the Reaper is that it can come back, and it can keep sort of picking at the queen, but Lucifron's actually leaving with that already. 4 lings coming across the map now. There is, of course, a wall off. I would imagine what he wants to do here with these lings is to try and deny that expansion. The Reaper does see it, however, so those lings are going to die eventually. Probably sooner rather than later. I doubt he's going to be able to take that SCV out. He might be able to. I mean, I'd be kind of surprised if he did. That actually delays the expansion quite nicely. So, oh, if he takes that SCV, that'll be huge. But no, those Reapers will easily take that out. A little bit of a delay, though, so I guess as a move, that's pretty good. 8 more lings coming out here, and they're going to have speed this time around. This could surprise Lucifron quite a lot. What information did Lucifron get? The funny thing is, Lucifron didn't see the gas. He didn't see the timing of it. He didn't see the pool researching anything. So he doesn't actually know that he is about to go up against very early speedlings. Now, I don't know what he can necessarily do against it, but I think this might be an interesting counter to this 2 Reaper opening. Because what we noticed last time Lucifron did this was he's actually pretty weak early game to some potential aggression. But when you go with the standard Zerg build where you delay speed and you go queen heavy, you can't actually do that. The thing about 2 Reapers is against 10 speedlings, they're not actually going to do anything. Now, the question, I suppose, is what does Hope do? If he can just deny mining for ages, then he's in a great position. Obviously, Lucifron will be able to micro with this bunker, so the follow-up, it looks like, is going to be roaches here, which I like very much. And what Hope is going to do is he is going to stop this 3cc powerhouse build from Lucifron, and he's going to do it with speedlings. He's going to damage the command center. He is going to stop mining for as long as he possibly can. He's going to leave now because of these 2 Hellions, but that has already effectively delayed mining. I mean, the income is now coming back up for Lucifron, as you can see, but it was low. I mean, he wasn't mining from his natural. That build is supposed to secure the natural expansion, and it didn't. And with these speedlings on the map, the Hellions aren't going to do anything either. 10 more speedlings coming out, and the roaches on the way as well. 5 roaches being produced. Really aggressive 2-base play coming out here from Hope, and Lucifron is being caught off a little bit by it. Not a huge amount. I mean, he hasn't lost that many workers, but it's the mining time that's the big deal. Hope seems to have found a weakness in the early game of Lucifron and is looking to exploit it. Reinforcement's going to get cut off here. If Lucifron has great control, and he does, then he is going to deal with these speedlings quite handily. But once the roaches come on the field, it's like, what the hell are you going to do? Right now, Hope is just kind of fending them off as best he can, but he is losing a lot of lings, and he's probably going to lose them all by the looks of it. And Lucifron's control allows him to do that without a single Hellion. But you know what's really interesting? These roaches are not going to get spotted until they actually hit the Zelnaga Tower, because the Hellions are actually kept away from the roaches. There aren't that many of them, but there's probably enough to bust through here. It's 6 Hellions, 2 Marines. Lucifron, again, has to pull workers to try and keep this bunker alive. And these roaches are going to hit. He gets a free supply depot here. Whatever he does, he gets a free supply depot, which is actually going to be a supply block. But he's going to go straight for this bunker, and he's just going to kill as many of these workers, I think, as he can. The problem is he's not really getting all that many of them. Widowmine goes off, and actually, I think, kills more workers than it does roaches, and that finally gets cleaned up. Only 4 workers killed, so I don't know if that attack really worked as well as you would hope. The second wave is going to hit much, much harder, but if Lucifron is able to continue to defend and start to get his upgrades rolling, then he's going to be in a good spot. But he is still in this position where he can do nothing but defend. Widowmine is being borrowed. It actually isn't ready yet, though, and this is actually a big deal. Lucifron is going to defend with Hellions and Marines in just that one bunker. The Lings get in there. The Roaches try and smash their way through. Another Widowmine shot goes off here, and Hope is actually left without many units at all, and once again, Lucifron holds with a loss of no workers. That was a big deal. Now we can safely say Lucifron is ahead. That second attack failed. Very all-in-ish behavior here from Hope, and now he has to revert to building drones. Lucifron's in a great position. It was an interesting build. I feel it was nicely designed to beat Lucifron's early game, but it didn't work. It straight up did not work. So now Lucifron is in a good spot. He can do whatever he wants. He is getting a starport up. He's got that 3rd command center, so even if the workers were killed, he could very easily replenish them. His opponent is behind in workers and is going to be behind in bases very soon. And his opponent only has roaches as well. He did go lair, so that's nice, but he has no upgrades at all, whereas his opponent's going for double ups. So The Roaches will be reasonably effective for a while, but once he starts going up against this big Bioforce with 1-1 and then 2-2, he's going to be in trouble. Nidus play from Hope. All right, and that'll work as well because this Overlord's in a great spot. Okay, so he realizes that the first all-in didn't work, so his second all-in is going to be Speed Roach Nidus, which he is very desperately hoping does not get scouted. Scan goes down, and it misses the Nidus. That's kind of a big deal. He does see the speed going down, but he... Oh, second scan! He sees the Nidus worm. He's like, what's going on here? All right, this is a big deal. Hope now is having to try and rely on a Nidus, which is obviously not going to work that well because his opponent is now aware of its presence. The Armory doesn't actually see the Overlord. It doesn't mean that he's going to be able to stop the Nidus worm, but the fact of the matter is he knows it's there. So we will keep an eye out for this Nidus. There are two possible positions for it. There's this one right here. This has been seen, and then there's this one which hasn't. The risk is, of course, that... Oh, nice block there by Hope. The risk is that Luciferon believes it's coming from here and not coming from here. And then he might not be able to respond quickly enough. The engagement comes in right there. Will the Nidus Worm actually go down? That's a lot of Widow Mines that nicely, efficiently engaged. But there's so many Marauders here that I don't think this is going to do anything. Smashed back very nicely. Luciferon is so ahead now. And it's interesting that he didn't use his Nidus Worm. If he had, he actually might have done something. I feel that... I don't think these would have got up there in time. I don't know how quickly he would have noticed, but I think a Nidus here would have done some obscene damage. And he just tried to attack the front again. So Hope is kind of throwing this away, I'm afraid. Luciferon is doubling his supply right now. And if Hope just keeps attacking the front, he's going to fail. 1-1 is already done. He's maybe got like one last all-in him that he'll be able to use, which will involve an attack at the front. He's going to trigger a couple of Widow Mines. Nice. One last attack at the front with a Nidus behind. Backstab might work. Maybe. But he is so far behind at this stage. He's going to have to do some serious damage to his opponent to catch up here. And these repeated attacks on the front are just not doing it. He managed to delay the orbital going down for a while, which is nice. He's also building his Mutalisks. Is he even going to use this Nidus? Oh, did he cancel the Nidus? Oh, well, that would explain a lot. I guess he cancelled it as soon as it got scanned. Okay, fair enough. I was going to say, why is the Nidus Worm not going down? All right. Yeah, he transitioned into Mutalisk play instead. There we go. That makes much, much more sense. But Mutalisk play, really, against 1-1 Marines? This is going to be difficult. At least it stops the drops from going down. But, again, I'm not convinced. I don't think he's going to get very far with this. He's going to have to get some amazing Mutalisk backstabs and do a lot of damage. At least Luciferon hasn't got any ground static defense, which is always good. That Mutalisk is... What is he doing? What is he doing? Oh, Hope! No. Those are Marine... No, Hope! No, 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 no. Don't do... Get away from him! Oh, man. Yeah, I don't see this doing much. Luciferon is in a position now to just stomp all over Hope's face. He really is. I see what he was trying to do, but I think Hope would have just been better playing standard straight up because he is a really powerful late game player. He obviously knows what he's doing. This gimmicky play from him just clearly is not what he's used to, and it didn't work out. So Luciferon is in a good position to start the momentum back. Here comes the drop. Luciferon going in, and he's going to deny mining here, and he's probably going to take a queen out and kill a whole bunch of other stuff as well. We've got Hope desperately trying to hold on. Gets us around, kills that stuff eventually, but... Again, workers... Well, actually, workers weren't really killed there, but mining time was lost. Queen was killed. He's down to 1 queen on 3 hatches, which means he's not even producing units at a good speed. He's going to be floating minerals as a direct result of that. He's actually not even building queens. I think he's probably just going to go for one last desperate attack, which is unequivocally going to fail. There is no question. He is going up against 2-2 bio. It is safe to say, I feel, I love to try and hype games to the last, but at the end of the day, Luciferon just completely crushed him. And it was mostly Hope's fault. I'm not going to take anything away from Luciferon there. He defended very well, but Hope's attacks just simply did not work. I see what he was going for, but it didn't do the job. And Luciferon's now going to kill the third base, deploying a bunch of mines here, unless these mines actually kill all of Luciferon's army, which would actually be kind of hilarious. There's the GG. Yeah, no question about that. Luciferon dominates that matchup. No all kill for you, Hope, I'm afraid, but that's still a long mountain to... A long mountain? What? Yeah, it's a long and a tall mountain to climb here for Luciferon. He's the last one for the team, and let's be honest, Mousesports has a lot of possibilities here. He still has to win 2 maps to even it up. They've still got mana. They still have Hero Marine. They also still have a couple of other players. We'll see who's... I mean, do they send out mana to just finish it up, knowing that they can then use mana in the ace match later? It wouldn't surprise me in any way. I think Mana's the best choice here. We'll see whether or not Mousesports decides to send him out. We'll find out after this break. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the next matchup? We are going to be seeing a TBT right here. Looks like the Mousesports do not want to bring out their ace just yet. Well, let's see if this was a good idea. We will find out very shortly. We are going into this map. It's going to be Kesper Neoplanet S. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to bring you Mousesports Hero Marine. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Terran to the southwest of Kesper Neoplanet S. Versus his opponent, it is Karont3's Lucifron, who saves them from being all killed by... Oh god, I mean, it's basically just being all killed in general by Mousesports Hope. So there you go. Well, okay. TBT. Well, the thing about TBT is that Lucifron is amazing at it. And what we saw from him against Quantic was he killed Apocalypse and Center, which was kind of ridiculous. I mean, it was mind-boggling. He did such a good job. The thing about Hero Marine, which is why this may be a good choice in this matchup, is Hero Marine is a very all-in-ish kind of player. Like, his style mixes a lot of all-ins into play. He's not the kind of person that wouldn't pull SCVs and go for an all-in attack. Might be what you need. Maybe that's the kind of sniper position you want to be in. Is Hero Marine up to Lucifron's standards in terms of his results? No, he's not. He's nowhere near as proven. But this is a team league, and that doesn't actually mean a damn thing. So we will see. Gas is coming down a bit earlier for Hero Marine. We're going to see a 15 gas here for Lucifron. Seeing a lot of Terrans going for this lately. If you want to be the more defensive player, 15 gas is absolutely fine. This can also mean that you want to go into that reacted Marine build. You want to build a couple of Marines, get that reactor down, get your expansion, but it can mean a lot of different things. But the earlier gas here from Hero Marine indicates, of course, he wants to tech a little bit quicker than his opponent. This could mean that he wants to start off with a Reaper, which is fine. That can do reasonably well. Doesn't do as well as getting some Marines as it used to, unfortunately. Could also mean, of course, that you want to get a very early factory out, and then what do you do with that? There's a lot of possibilities, but what I will say is that one of the prevalent builds in this matchup right now is Hellbat Drop, and it's very, very good at what it does. So if Hero Marine is trying to get the earlier Hellbats out, there's the factory coming down for him, then that might work out. But bear in mind that Lucifron is the master of the Hellbat Drop. I suppose the question is, can he actually defend it? There you go. As I said, this leads often into the reacted barracks build. It means you get a couple of Marines out, you then get your 50 gas slightly later. I mean, why do you need it earlier? You really don't. Once you know that your opponent's not building Reapers, you can put down that reactor safely. You can lock your Marines out of your base unintentionally, and then you can put your command center down. In this case, however, Hero Marine is not expanding yet. He is looking to. You can look at his money. It's getting pretty high. There's going to be a swap over momentarily, which of course will cost 200 gas, but the CC is going to go down. 200 gas? What? No. 200 minerals. I'm talking up my arse. He may, of course, build Widow Mines here. That might work if he wants to play a little bit more defensively. You can't really get that aggressive with him at this stage, although you can be annoying and try and deny the expansion, but it's a little bit too much of an investment. Against Terran, Terran can just scan and eliminate the Widow Mines quite easily, so it's not too big a deal. Lucifron's completed his reactor, which means he's going to be pumping out Marines 2 at a time, which is always nice. What this does mean, interestingly enough, is that it does delay the actual tech, and I have actually seen this used to transition into mech, but since he hasn't got a second gas, that's not that likely. He's now going to build that barracks. I imagine he's actually going to now use the barracks to pop down. I was thinking he may use it to put the reactor down here, but he's not going to do that. Hellion's coming out. So, maybe we do see a mech build, but again, still on 1 gas. It's fairly unlikely. You can't do a lot with that. Here comes the armory for Hero Marine. So, almost certainly going to be Hellbats. There is no other reason to build an armory at this stage when you don't have an engineering bay. So, we're going to be seeing a Hellbat drop. A couple of Widow Mines have been deployed. Does he mix them together? Probably not. The thing about Hellbats is that they do take 4 cargo capacity. So you can only fit 2 of them in a medevac, which means that if you want to take Widow Mines, you can only put 1. And 1 Hellbat is not that great. 2 Hellbats are pretty cool. 4 Hellbats, even better. But if you do that, you end up delaying the medevacs. So there's going to be some initial Hellions. coming in. And there's a couple of ways you can play this. Barracks comes in, and Lucifron, it clearly knows what's coming at him now. Since he's seen the Barracks floating over to scout at it, he knows that he must be up against the Hellbat drop. So there's a couple of ways to play this. What you can try and do is send your Hellions into the natural while you Hellbat drop the main, which is pretty nasty. You can try and do a run-by with your Hellions into the main as well. But in this case, the actual Hellion count is in favor of Lucifron. And a good counter to Hellion is, of course, Hellion. Widowmine sitting there. Lucifron probably is aware of the possibility of it. If he gets hit by this in a big way, that's going to hurt him a lot. We'll take out at least one Hellion and do a lot of splash damage as well. Economically, they're both pretty even right now. Hero Marine did manage to get his CC down. He did delay this one very slightly, although not by much. And that gives Lucifron very, very slightly. Here comes that engagement. The Widowmine got scanned and eliminated by the looks of it. And now he's actually made his way right in here. Hellbats are now in play, but this is actually a messy position to be in. I like the use of this Viking to drive that medevac back, and he almost lost it there, but look at how much damage has already been done. Oh, no! It's a gift basket! Ah, that was intended for someone else entirely. You got the wrong address. It's terrible. It's a lot of damage. That's 9 SCVs killed and workers as well. This is looking ugly. Off goes Widowmine's shot, which is always nice to see, but Hero Marine might have wanted to get aggressive here, but Lucifron actually got aggressive before him. Hellbat drop is coming in. Is he going to actually place it? He's going to drop the Hellbats directly on top of the Hellions. Of course, they're going to move in almost immediately, and the reinforcements come in as well here. Lucifron can just win right now. This is insane. Great defense here. Great offense here by Lucifron. I guess that is the best defense. And Hero Marine is getting bled dry, and he is in a horrible spot right now. This clearly didn't work. I guess that's what you get for using Lucifron's build against Lucifron. He was obviously aware of what it was. Moving the barracks over there gave him a clear indication, and I think this is probably going to be a win for Lucifron at this stage. 21 to 36. Down goes the wall, and the Marines and Hellions make their way in there. A couple of Hellbats come out, so a little bit of nice, tricky micro here by Hero Marine, and he is going to defend it, but at what cost? He lost a lot of stuff. Hellbat drop will finish that off, but oh man, there's more Hellions coming in. He's not done. Lucifron is going for it again, and he's actually going to kite the Hellbats, which you can do. Bear in mind, Hellbats are light units. And they're pretty slow, too. Lucifron is actually evading the Hellbat drops. Like, come back here! God damn it. Stop the pigeon. That's not going to happen, I'm afraid. But Hero Marine is so far behind in his economy right now. Lucifron just keeps hitting him with... He's getting his own Hellbats out here as well. I don't see a situation where he stays alive. Unless this Hellbat drop does an obscene amount of damage. It's already been spotted. Lucifron would have to be very amiss to ignore this. And I don't even think it matters. Right? Lucifron is just powering forward here. More Hellbats are coming out to try and deal with these Hellions, and they're doing it one at a time. Hellbat drop comes in and is eliminated by counter Hellbats. There's a pickup here by Hero Marine. He actually hasn't lost any Hellbats yet, but there is a Viking in play. That was a good drop. Can he follow it up? He can't quite. Ah! And he loses a Hellbat in the air as well. Not ideal. He tried his best to make that work, but he didn't do enough damage. And right now, Lucifron is killing Hellbats with Vikings. I don't even know what's going on at this stage. Oh, man. Hellions are just roasting everything. Hero Marine is so far down in supply that I don't see a way out of this, especially not in a TVT. You can't be this far behind and still win a TVT. There's nothing that Hero Marine really has to do it. Brings his Viking down, finally cleans up the aggression, but Lucifron is in a position to do whatever he wants now. And this is going to be very difficult. Very difficult indeed. Hero Marine manages to save that Viking only just as Lucifron's makes its way over. The cool thing about Vikings in this particular matchup is that, oh, there's no Marines, I can do whatever I want. If I get air superiority, it's just great. Lucifron, of course, going to lose that Viking. Nice bit of repairing there from Hero Marine. We've got Hellions now moving into position. Lots of them, and Hellbats as well, just to batter down this front. That'll probably just kill the Orbital Commando, or at least force it to lift. Oh, this Mule's going to get caught out as well if he's not careful. Moving the Hellbats into a defensive position. Lucifron is going to lose the Viking war, as you can see here, but he's got a lot of Hellbats on the ground, so I don't think he really... Oh, never mind. Mutually assured destruction. Here he goes, going for the engagement right now, and it's Hellbat versus Hellbat in a battle to the death, which Lucifron will win, and there are only 2 Hellbats left on the field here for Hero Marine. He's going to try and drop them. The defense is already in position, and there's the GG. Lucifron slaps that down completely and says, "What do you got for me next?" "Not in my house." Lucifron looking nice right now, looking to try and get his team back on the board. He is doing it very nicely indeed. 4-3 now. Who do they send out next? It's got to be Mana. Surely you send out Mana at this stage, then you send out Mana again as the ace. What else would you do? We'll find out very shortly, folks. Don't go anywhere. Alright, here we go, folks. This is the only option I really have, I'm afraid. It's not going to be that great, but I'll do my best. Okay, so... we joined the game about 2 minutes in. And the Protoss player, of course, Mana. Expected they'd bring Mana out now. It makes sense to bring Mana out on the 4th game, simply because you can then bring him back as the ace. So there's no real risk not to do that. You basically get 2 chances of killing Lucifron. Mana is, of course, absolutely fantastic at the PvT matchup. He's known for this. So a great choice from them. I don't disagree with the choice to initially send Hero Marine out, because I think that he's the kind of player that could snipe someone like Lucifron, but the problem was he ended up using a build that was basically Lucifron, so Lucifron shut that down completely. LOL. God. Everyone's lagging out today. That's another one of the casters going down, incidentally. So we're going to be losing him for a second by the looks of it. Unfortunate. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, not much has happened. Obviously, we're seeing a Reaper opening here. It's not the most common thing in the world for PvT, or TVP, in fact. They're both the same thing. But it'll work. It'll tickle a little bit. It'll get some good scouting information. It gets shut down, of course, by the Stalker. Timing's pretty good, though. If you get it that early, then you are able to get in there and do some damage. Get some scouting information, annoy your opponent. Well, we're about to lose Razorblade, and then once we lose Razorblade, we'll be back in the game. Alright, there we go. Cool. Okay, so let's see what this Reaper actually does. Zealot's coming out. Obviously, that means there's something else you have to kite, so a little bit extra control is required. This... I was going to say, this guy is in an interesting position, but I think he's just scouting for nonsense right now. Now, the Reaper follow-up is just going to be 1 Reaper this time, which makes sense in this matchup. Getting 2 doesn't really make a lot of sense, because once the Stalkers are out, it's just going to shut that down. Not really a big deal. Reaper coming straight across the map. Stalker is on its way, and that leaves sort of a 20-second gap where this Reaper can actually do something. And the command center is actually coming down the low ground. Nice and aggressive here. Chrono Boost is coming in, and we'll see if this Reaper can actually do any damage. Probably not, especially since his first few shots actually... Oh, he took down a probe. And focusing on gas probes is never a really good idea, because of course they dart into the gas. Let's see how much control. It's another one. Oh, 3 probes taken out by that. That's great stuff for Lucifron there. And if he gets away with this, and he does. Oh, knife edge play by Lucifron. That was the best Reaper in the world. Killing 3 probes is a very surprising thing to see. Very cool. Like that a lot. Alright, well, that was a good start here for Lucifron. I like his decision to only go with 1 as well. Overcommitting there would have sort of drained that advantage. If you build just 1 Reaper and then kill 3 probes, you're in a great spot. You build 2 Reapers and kill 3 probes, not so much. You spent a lot more gas, you've delayed a lot more stuff, you delayed the reactor going down, you delayed your tech, you delayed everything. Not so ideal. Alright, well, let's see where Mana's going to go with it. He is looking for his expansion right now. The Reaper will, of course, spot that, but there is a Mothership Core out now, so the Reaper isn't really in a position to do any more damage. It will be used as a scout, it will be used to control Xel'Naga watchtowers, and if it stays alive, it could be annoying. Mana moving to check around this area right there. This is actually a decent map to use your Mothership Core as a scout, because in this position, you actually have that big piece of negative space above the 3rd, which you can escape into. Not all maps have that, which means that it can be a little bit trickier to get out. Stalker's going to shut that Reaper down without too much of a problem. Robo is following up here. Mana's going to play standard and safe, I feel, here. I don't see any other way of that actually happening. It should be fine. Engineering bay coming down. Just 1, not 2 yet. 3rd. I was going to say, that's not the 3rd base, is it? No. Sorry, when observing of someone else I don't have control over, who isn't actually watching my cast, it's a little bit more difficult. But we'll make it work as best we can. Again, I'm very sorry about this, but fatal errors are not something I can actually help. Alright, we do have the gateways coming down here as well for Mana. This scout is just proving to be so useful here. Great control on the Reaper. Very, very late factory. A lot of Marines, playing a very classic style, I feel, here is Lucifron, the Reaper Expand. Looking for the +1, not going double upgrades, getting the stim as well. And he's actually going to make his way in. He's going to see the Robo, he's going to see the gateways. That's really great. And he might get out here. I don't know, he may get shut down, we'll see. This Reaper's a constant annoyance. He's actually going to get a little bit greedy and try and take some probes out, which I think means that... I think that means that Reaper's dead. Yeah, it's dead. No problem at all. So that's all good. This isn't. This Twitch lag definitely isn't. Let's hope that stops. Mana's going to go straight into the Robotics Bay and is looking right now for 2 base Colossus. No upgrades yet. He's only just started his first forge here, so he may get caught out by that. Admittedly, Colossi don't really care that much about upgrades. They're still going to carve their way through Marines one way or the other. And this later medevac timing, of course, means that we're not going to be seeing too much aggression coming out yet from Lucifron, but once he gets those medevacs, he will most likely start to drop. Since there is no Blinkstalker, there is, of course, no Twilight Council down. Drop defense is going to be a little bit tricky. It is made easier by the presence of the Mothership Core, but it can still be a little bit difficult. Observer now moving into play, just to see what he's doing. He's not playing a Vipro kind of style of lots of spare Observers, because, of course, he wants to get that Colossus out as quickly as possible. So he builds 1 Observer, and he's like, right, okay, cool, I'm done with that. I just want to see what you're doing. He's going to go for Armor Upgrade instead of Weapon. I like that a lot. Very effective at nullifying what his opponent's doing, and if it's a very marine-heavy composition, then armor works much, much better. So that seems to work pretty well. Currently, Mana slightly behind Lucifron, I feel, obviously because the CC went down a little bit earlier. It was a good expansion. Plus, taking out 3 probes is always nice in that regard. The scouting... Is that Scouting Factory? Yeah, must be a Scouting Factory moving across the map there to keep an eye on things. Engineering Bay has been spotted. +1 is now done. 1 Colossus up. Waiting for the second. Still no sign of a full push. I mean, honestly, he knows, or at least suspects, that his opponent is building Colossus, so doing a push wouldn't really make a lot of sense. You want to start to drop, I feel. You want to start to pick your opponent apart while you're able to build up the Viking count and get the Marauders out to actually take down a composition with a lot of Colossus in it. Lucifron now moving into position to... I mean, you'd think that would be a drop. He's actually just running towards the 3rd base here. He's just going to check and see what's going on, and then maybe he lifts into the main, and when he sees there is no sneaky 3rd, there's no sneaky anything. Current army count is absolutely tiny for Mana here. He has very little. He's got 5 Zealots, as well as a single Colossus, now 2, and a couple of Stalkers and 3 Sentries, which is enough to stop this if it's defended properly. If it's not, then he's in a lot of trouble. He can't... Can he build another Colossus? He's not building one. That's really weird. What the hell is he doing with it? I guess he's just saving his money for Warpins instead of building a 3rd Colossus, which is really interesting. Because as you can see, that Robo is not active. He had the money to build one, but he decides not to do that. He's now on double forge, chrono boosting those upgrades, so he's going to be able to catch up to his Terran opponent. The thing is, Terran's not actually interested in attacking. He doesn't care. He's going to take his 3rd. He's already got it established right there. CC is down for him, so Lucifron's still in a great economic position. No drops are coming as of yet, but Mana is super paranoid that those things are going to come at him, and he's right to be. There are medevacs in play. 3rd now goes down for the Protoss, significantly behind the Terran. That's already saturated. With mules going down as well, that's pretty delicious. I like to see that. Very, very cool. More gateways being added on here for Mana. There's no surprises here, I feel, with Mana's build. It's all very, very standard. Drop's going to get cleaned up. The 3rd has been spotted, so will this trigger Lucifron to do something? So far, he's playing really, really passively. Right now, he is ahead, so... If he feels like he's got the army to take this down, especially with +1, which might be helpful for those Vikings, yeah, I think now is the time when we roll out and try and strike that 3rd base. The 3rd base is a fairly defensible position, especially with the rocks in their position that they are right now. There is, of course, the possibility of a split push or something along the lines of drop play. Maybe you attack the natural and then you drop the 3rd, or you attack the 3rd and then drop the natural. But right now, it seems like it's just a big ball of doom coming in, and it's going to strike when this +1 finishes. So let's see Mana's defense right here. He's sort of juking around. It's like, oh, I'm going to go with the natural. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I see where your army is. I see your position with my Scouting Factory, so I'm going to be able to do something else. Interesting stuff. Actually, double Starport coming out here just to really pump out that Viking production. I like that. On 3 bases, that's totally fine. Absolutely fine. Also means, of course, triple medevacs coming out later in the game if you actually need them. Or some crazy transitions. Don't usually see stuff like Battle Cruisers or Banshees in this matchup, but you never know. Weirder things have happened, certainly. Alright. Lucifron now moving around with the drop. Finally. Templar Archives looks like it is right in the way of that potential drop play. there's still a really small army here from Mana, so considering the Viking count, I don't see that army really doing anything, which is risky, because if he pushes out right now, he's going to get dropped. Third base has just got dropped. There is no defense there to deal with it whatsoever. Mana is continuing to push forward. He's now forced to pull back, but he's going to take a lot of damage. He might even lose this Nexus. In fact, he is going to lose this Nexus by the looks of it. Cannon's been put down, but it's not enough. Third base taken out. Nicely played there by Lucifron. A precision drop, and Mana is reeling from that one. Not having a third base and having a smaller army, you've got to take the best engagement in the world. He's trying to catch up on his upgrades, and he's sort of getting there, but he's still actually behind in that regard. Or he's around equal. He's got less attack, but more armor. All right, 1 minute rest going to get taken out here, but it's going to get caught by the Marauders. There's a quick jump out there, but another one's taken out. This is a huge difference in army supply, but you don't want to fight into that choke. Not with the Colossi there. What you can do is use that negative space there to try and snipe with some Colossi. Nice little blink play here by Mana. Blinking to try and take that out. Doesn't lose the Colossus, but he will lose it on the third salvo by the looks of it. Vikings moving into play. A preemptive blink takes out one Viking. But trading that for a Colossus is totally fine. There's triple Viking production going on in the background here. This third base is trying to be re-established, and Mana is looking like he's kind of fallen apart here against this. Ghosts are being prepared. He's looking for the Templar transition, which against triple Viking is a really sensible thing to do, but of course his opponent already realizes that this is happening, so is building Ghosts in preparation. Could try for run-bys here. That is in a pretty decent position for that. Zealot run-bys on high upgrades are usually pretty good. He could easily do some damage to the natural there, or indeed to that fourth base, which is just being established there by the Terran player. Alternatively, Lucifron could just kill him. If Lucifron just waits too long, then he's going to be in trouble. I think he's waiting for these upgrades, and then he's just going to go. Because he wants to kill a Colossi. He knows there's a Templar transition coming in. He wants to catch him mid-transition, where he doesn't have too many Templars. There is no Storm on the field right now. Oh, Mothership Core takes a lot of fire. Doesn't go down, however, Time Warp is still available. Here come the Templar with absolutely no abilities whatsoever. They can feed back, and that really is about it. Colossus taking a huge amount of fire right here. Can he hold on? These force fields are so very good. They kept so much of that army out of position, and Lucifron lost way more than you would have expected there. He's actually having to pull back. That was an amazing defense there by Mana. He lost all of his Colossus, but he was looking to transition out anyway. If Vikings keep getting built, which they actually are here, I think Lucifron may have misread this. He's still building Vikings. He's still building +2 air weapon, whereas his opponent is actually going for Templar. That said, let us not, under any stretch of the imagination, say that Lucifron or indeed Mana has this. Mana is in a position where he's still very much behind in terms of his economy. He is catching up on tech, and he's got this transition going on. Finally, we see Ghosts coming out here from Lucifron. Could be an awkward spot. But the thing is, Mana's in no position to attack here. If he's going to do anything, he's going to do run-bys, or he's got to do some harassment. And just some drop play here and there, but he can't do that. That fourth base is going to have a planetary, so Zealot run-by is not going to do anything. The third base is kind of out of the way of any proxy pylons. There's no proxy pylons on the map anyway. That Probe decided not to build one. Okay, well, a couple of Stalkers moving in. A little bit risky, especially against upgraded Marauders. They're going to take some pretty serious damage. He can blink out, but still. He wants to sort of poke in here, but Lucifron's about to be maxed out again. The thing is that Mana is playing a good game of catch-up. This transition is... I don't know, it gets weird at this stage because you're seeing a lot of Ghosts coming down, and yet there's actually not that many Templar. He's going to build Templar and Colossus. There's quite a lot of Vikings out, though, so a couple of Colossus are going to be really useless here. They're going to die very quickly, unless Lucifron doesn't engage well and Mana is able to snipe them off. He is playing catch-up here. He's actually getting aggressive. He's going to hit before +3 armor, which is always nice. He actually does have an upgrade advantage now. Storm goes down, doesn't really do anything. Not yet, anyway. And, oh, that was nice. He moves everything back and then blinks on top of the Ghosts, but it's not enough to kill him. Ghosts are surprisingly tough. Workers now being thrown away because Lucifron just wants a bigger army. He doesn't need those workers. He's got 4 command centers now, so he should be fine. He'll probably start to build more CCs to back this up to replace his SCVs with more units. Third is now under threat. Let's see. Can Mana actually make this work? He's got Storms, and that was a nice one going down there. Actually, was that really a Storm? Where the hell did that come from? I was going to say, he doesn't have a Warp Prism. That was surprising. That must have been a Templar that I didn't see on the map right there. Alright, Mana has got to defend against this, and he's in a good spot to do that. Up that ramp is great. Admittedly, Lucifron is still on 4 bases, so do you want to really leave Lucifron alone? Hard to say. This is a good composition, although I feel maybe it's a bit overkill on the Vikings. With only 2 Colossi out, 13 Vikings is probably a few too many, and it might mean that the ground army is a little bit weak. That was a fantastic Storm. That was a phenomenal Storm there by Mana. He did so much damage with it. Landed right in the center of that gigantic ball. If he manages to make this happen, then Mana is an even better PvTer than I've thought. And here he goes, looking for the engagement. The charging zealots making their way in there, doing significant damage. EMPs did not... I mean, they did go down, I think, but they didn't do a huge amount. Storm goes down on the Vikings here as well. But Mana is going to lose this engagement. Not by much, but he will lose it. Gets out of there. He's going to lose that Templar and maybe a couple of sentries as well. Hang on a second, my monitor's actually shut down because I didn't move my mouse. I'm like, what, really? It's alright, it's back. Relax, relax. Okay, so Lucifron with a good strike right there, and Mana's now in a really horrible position. He needed to win that fight. He didn't. He did pretty well, but there's only so well you can really do against an army that's that big. And Lucifron now with the superior economy is now going to power out more units, 7 Marauders at a time. That's absurd, by the way. 4 Vikings at a time. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Really fantastic, but I have a feeling that Lucifron might have this at this stage. I really do. Proxy pylon? What? That's a crazy place to put it. It just dumps the pylon down right there. Lucifron hasn't noticed. Some damage is certainly going to be done here, but I think Lucifron could kind of just bring down the hammer now. We'll see if he's able to make that work. Lucifron now posturing. He's got exactly what he needs of this army. The Zealot run-by comes in. It's going to be a little bit annoying, but I think Lucifron is just going to attack now. He still retains most of his Vikings, I feel. Not using all that much Storm in this army. EMPs go down. Oh, wow, they hit everything. That's devastating. I don't see Mana getting out of this. The supply count absolutely plummets there for Mana. There's the stim forward. Lucifron smashes that, dodges a storm, and then runs into it for no apparent reason. Feedbacks go down on the ghosts here, and he's still trying to hold on, but that's not going to work out. GG, ladies and gentlemen, and there it is. Nicely played. And Lucifron is now taking this thing to the ace match. Taking it to the ace match. What an amazing performance there. Oh, all right. A very quick break, folks. Very quick while I set up the scoreboard for the next match. 4-4 right now. I can't imagine they'll bring out anyone but Mana for the ace, but you never know. We'll find out very shortly. Don't go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going into the final map of this series. It went all the way to 9. I told you this was going to be a close as hell series, and that's exactly what it is. Incredible stuff from both of these guys. Mana, needless to say, brought on as the ace once again. You can bring in any player as the ace once your team is down to their last map. That's why Lucifron popped up twice. That's why Mana is popping up twice here as well. We are about ready to kick it off. Please, for the love of God, do not crash. Please, Starcraft 2. There we go. All right. They need to fix that fatal error. They really do. Okay. Here we go. Last map of this series. It's been a freaking phenomenal series. These teams are amazing. And it's this guy. Mana is out again. Trying again. Giving it another bash. He is in the Blue Trunks, playing Protoss to the northeast of this map, which is Cloud Kingdom. Versus his opponent, the Terror from Spain. One half of Duran. In the Red Trunks playing Terran to the southwest, it is a Karont3's Lucifron. Yes. This couldn't have been any better. It could not have been any better. We saw... This series has had everything. We saw a 4-kill by Hope, a player that most people didn't even know existed. We saw a comeback by Lucifron, and now it's the ace match. Great. And it's between Lucifron and Mana. What, you couldn't ask for anything more, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Well... So, Mana is kind of struggling a little bit here, as you saw. He didn't deal all that well with everything that his opponent was throwing at him. He did get a couple of good engagements, but eventually it was just the powerhouse of his opponent that really dealt with it. Lucifron actually going gas here. Okay, right. We'll probably see Reaper coming out here again from Lucifron. Seems fairly likely. I don't see why you wouldn't. If you're able to get a couple of probe kills with your Reaper, then why wouldn't you just do that Reaper expand? It's just such a good build. Mana wasn't able to harass, he wasn't able to do any economic damage to his opponent, so every time he ended up losing probes and ended up losing bases, that third going down was massive. That was such a big move, a huge play by Lucifron. He caught his opponent out in the middle of the map and sniped the third base, which was... I'm trying to stop myself just from starting to swear at how great this is. Like, oh my god, it's so fucking good! But I'm going to resist it for the time being. I'm going to resist that. Okay, so timing-wise, this is not a particularly big map, so you can get the Reaper in pretty quickly, especially bearing in mind you can actually jump the Reaper up here, which means that it can be just a tad awkward. to deal with it. Second gas coming down fairly early here for Mana. Cybercore's on its way up as well, and what should happen here in theory is the Reaper will probably get into the base before the Stalker comes out. The Cybercore is about to finish, and then he can chrono boost the Stalker, but considering the timing of this, the Reaper actually might be a little later than you might think. Here it is. Stalker is now on the way. So, will the Stalker finish before this Reaper gets in? I think it will be almost ready. It's not going to finish, but it'll be pretty close. I have to wonder if he chrono boosts it. Mana's actually not chrono boosting that. He's going to save it for something else, which is not a terrible idea. I actually kind of like that. His timing's pretty good. Maybe he loses a probe here, but then he just fends it off. Not really a big deal. A little bit of indecision there by Lucifron means that there's actually going to be no probe kill here, and Mana is able to fend that off completely. And I like the fact he didn't chrono boost the Stalker. He didn't really have to. He spotted it pretty early, and then he was properly prepared. His build order just worked out in his favor. Notice that Mana actually only mines 2 out of 3 here. He will put 3 in eventually, but he times this build out precisely and realizes you don't actually need that much gas at that stage, so I can have more minerals. Nice. Free probe kill. Didn't stop the Nexus from going down, but hey, a probe kill is always nice. You want to make that Reaper actually worth something. In the meantime, of course, it was a standard Reaper expand here from Lucifron, so he does have his command center down just after the Reaper, using that Reaper for control, and yes, the reactor is down. Lucifron is a creature of habit, if anything, so you will expect to see the same kind of builds out of Lucifron in various matchups. He will vary things up when he feels like his build has become too well known, like his Hellbat drops have been all over EU ladder lately, so people have got a little bit wise to it, so he stopped doing it as much, and then he'll break it out when his opponent least expects it. But in a match like this, it's not so good. Alright, well, Lucifron's going to start building his Marines up, and I expect just pretty standard bio play here from him. He has 3 barracks, he has his tech lab down, he doesn't have stim yet. He is mining gas. He actually does, I was going to say, he does have enough for stim, and he's just started it there. He might want to put down another tech lab, but we'll see. He may be a little bit worried about just a small counterplay coming in. And this was actually terrible by Mana. Good lord, he's going to lose his Mothership Core. Wow, Lucifron picks that one up for free. It was a risky move to move the Mothership Core around there. It was sight beyond sight. Freaking rename him Lion-O instead of Lucifron. He just managed to completely read what was coming, killed the Mothership Core off for free, didn't lose anything. That was great. And the Reaper comes back in as well. It's like, hey, Mothership Core, you've got less energy than the other one. Your brother got killed, you're next. Scouts the armor upgrade coming in, which is always nice. He probably gets out of here alive. There is actually no Stalker in position to... yes, there is! Never mind. Mana also is well prepared and way more prepared than I was. I should look at the minimap more. Maybe I wouldn't be in Platinum. Anyway, Lucifron is now sitting on a nice count of Marines. He's starting to build up quite significantly. Very, very late again on those medevacs. He's going to put the factory down. He's going for the 3 CCs. Admittedly, he is actually building up some army before doing that. He's not being super greedy. He's playing a very safe build. Reactor's coming down here. Starport is about to follow up here for Lucifron. There it is. And then the reactor. So we'll see a swap over. And tech-wise, Stim's going to be done. Then we'll have Combat Shield. Since... oh, that's thrown a spanner into the works completely. This is a weird timing for this to happen. Mana throws down a Stargate really hidden. That's insane. It actually kind of is a little bit crazy. But it does allow him to do a couple of things. One, it lets you hit with oracles and do a lot of damage to your opponent's mineral line, if he's not prepared for it. Lucifron has shown a unwillingness to place missile turrets, so oracles could hurt him a lot here. Like, a backstab on a move out would just destroy Lucifron's mineral line. Other things you can do with it, you can build Phoenixes. It's going to be an Oracle this time. Phoenixes is always good. Now, since he knows the Reaper is down, it's going to have to be a lucky scan to scout. That third base going down as well. Lucifron's going to be like, what are you playing at? Well, that's going to die pretty much immediately. Oracles is such a great idea. This could really play fantastic catch-up for him here. The other alternative, of course, is that you maybe build a couple of Oracles, then you build some Phoenixes, and you use them for drop defense and map control, and that's really, really cool. I wonder how many Oracles he builds. Like, building only one from a Stargate is probably less than you might want. Ooh, he's got a Proxy Pylon in position as well. And is Lucifron... oh, Lucifron's defending his third. This is beautiful. So he realizes this is about the time when Lucifron takes his third base. He's obviously going to be defending it because the third base is the most obvious position. I almost thought that Lucifron smelled it then. I was like, how could he possibly... I mean, he still might. He's rolling back right now. No, is he actually going to push out? This would be disastrous. If he pushes out right now, there is nothing here to defend this mineral line. This Oracle is going to hurt so much. Lucifron is completely out of position. In comes the Oracle, and suddenly a backstab from Mana out of nowhere. 5 SCVs, 6 SCVs down. It's going to be 7 right now. The damage is pretty significant. Mana can just leave now. He doesn't want to lose that Oracle. He's going to lose the Oracle, isn't he? No, he gets out. Oracles are pretty nippy. Nope. Oh, missile turret's coming down. Mana, get out of there. Oh, he stops the missile turret. Now he needs to leave. Don't take them. Oh, wow. That was greedy. It's like, I really want... No, that's not a good idea. I think, you know, obviously he underestimated the amount of time he really had. But he killed 9 workers. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. And he's got his 3rd up as well. Now he needs to defend it. What he has done, this is the cool thing about this kind of is a double header. Not only does he do damage, but he delays Lucifron's push. Lucifron's push was intended to come out much earlier than this. It had to go back to base because it had to deal with that 1 Oracle. So that is a great cost-efficient engagement. Very smart play here by Mana. That gives him more time. It means that he's able to get that up. Here come the force fields, and they are pretty good. Colossus is here. Yeah, no chance. Lucifron is unable to touch that 3rd base. And Mana with a great build. Now he's going to defend against potential drop harass, which could come in. Actually drops down. That was weird. I don't know why he did that. That's actually suicidal. He loses a couple of Marines for no apparent reason there. So maybe that was just a misclick. One way or the other, that was nicely shut down. Mana is in a great spot right now. He's in an economic lead. He is powering forward on upgrades. He's actually behind in that regard, since he only has a single forge up. He didn't really have the gas. He needed to build the Stargate. He needed to build up his Oracle, so that's quite expensive. Scan goes down just to get an idea of the unit composition. Knows there are more Colossus coming down here. Here comes the drop right now. There are Stalkers in position, but they'll be immediately killed. Mana was not prepared for that. I guess he thought that, oh, there's nothing left right now. Colossus moving in. This is super risky, of course, but he gets the 2nd Colossus in there and he's able to get out. So, overall damage done. That kind of equalizes the count just a little bit. In fact, it completely equalizes the count. 69 workers each, so that was a nice little bit of drop play here by Lucifron. Currently a very, very even game. Lucifron is starting to power his production forward, but now we're seeing Phoenixes coming out. This is what I was saying earlier. You can build Phoenixes a little bit later on to deter drops. They don't kill medevacs that quickly, but they hunt them down. Yeah, you really can't outrun them. Even with speed, you're still going to be able to chase them down. Another big push coming out. Lucifron looking to try and engage on the 3rd base here. There is not enough energy for Time Warp, and it looks like that military core is actually going to die anyway, so he's going to have to resort to Sentry play here. Colossus are going to take damage, and the Phoenix is going to go down as well, and the drop's going to come in as well. Lucifron, so good at this. Now he's having to defend 2 fronts. Can he actually make that happen? Is there any more force field energy? There is not. There's no energy. Of course, no mothership core available for a cannon here either. And wow, this is nasty. This really, really is. It looks like his forge is going to go down, canceling the upgrades. Lucifron just gutting the 3rd base. An excellent maneuver. Mana was completely unprepared for it. Now with the forge down, he actually powers down a bunch of production. He actually can build Colossus because that's powered down, but he didn't. Oh, this is horrible. This is where Lucifron, I think, just puts the nail in the coffin. Taking a reverse 4-kill. GG! Hope you angered Lucifron, and it was not good for your team. Karont3 takes the 5-4 in an incredibly close series. What an excellent clutch ace play here by Lucifron, and Mana not able to deal with it. A deft double drop into the main, along with an attack on the 3rd base, catching him at just the wrong time, catching him before there's any photon overcharge available, catching him before he starts to get the Phoenixes out to shut those down. Perfect. And Mana's response to it, he didn't know where to go. He had no idea. It's like, oh, do I go up here with my Colossus? No, I can't. I don't have any more Sentry energy. I can't keep this 3rd base safe. Beautifully played. Beautifully played. Lucifron saves his team, but only just. I mean, it's safe to say that between Hope and Lucifron, it's difficult to determine who is the MVP in this matchup. But Lucifron ties it up and then eventually wins it, coming back from that 4-1 disadvantage. Great play. Lucifron once again proving why he is the most fearsome Terran in Europe and perhaps even the foreign scene right now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am done for this particular broadcast. Thank you very much for watching. That was extremely entertaining. If you missed anything, then you will be able to find it on my channel over the next day or so. The VODs will be uploaded as a 2-parter. Big chunks of VODs, no spoilers, no spam, always cool. Thank you very much to Intel and Acer for sponsoring the Acer Teamstory Cup. And big thanks to Take TV for organizing all of that. I hope you guys had fun. Please go and watch WCS. That is happening right now. That is over on... hang on a second. I've got to get the... I was about to tell you it was on MLG, and it's like, it is, but it's on a different stream. It is on twitch.tv/WCS_America. That is twitch.tv/WCS_America. Please go watch that. They're doing the losers bracket right now. There's still plenty to play for in that tournament with 4 more qualification spots still available. My name has been TotalBiscuit. You've been a fantastic audience, and I will see you next time. Congratulations to Karont3. What a wonderful, fantastic, unbelievable series.